Hi. So great to see you. Thank you for having me. And hello, everyone.
I'm so happy to have you, and I'm intrigued. I'm excited. I think that these conversations are so important and powerful and helpful. I'm getting goosebumps just saying it. So we're just gonna hang out like a bunch of girlfriends. I had enough time to say your bio, which was great, so people know a little bit more about you. I also have your book here, which is what a beautiful cover. I was a New World. I am a New World Library author as well, so I just love what they do for us, right?
Yeah,
It's so pretty.
wonderful. They're great.
It's so pretty. It is so pretty. So I'm gonna go right into it if you're good with that.
Yeah, let's jump in.
Awesome. So what was first came to mind, and one of the reasons I decided to interview you was in A Course in Miracles. I don't know if you're familiar with the course. We talk a lot about through it's a channeled book of which it helps us to connect to our inner wisdom, which the course calls the Holy Spirit, although you can call it anything, inner wisdom, higher self, etc. What I love about your book is that it really brings this message of there's so much more beyond the body. Like there's just so much more. There's so much vastness. So there was this part that you say that all the answers are within you and you have guidance. So it's so connected to what the course is teaching. So tell us a little bit more about that, and how is it that we have connection to that intuition and that we have all the answers within, which I think is so radical and so powerful. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. And I really do appreciate the Course in Miracles perspective on intuition. And it's something I've talked about a lot, understanding it as that divine connection, the connection to that sacred within us. The Holy Spirit, I think, is a beautiful way of understanding intuition as something that fills us and guides us and leads us to our really true self, our authentic life, and what we're meant to do in this world. So to me, intuition is really the sort of root of everything we do. If we are right with our intuition, everything that we do in life starts to fall in place. And I really wrote this book, The Illumination Code, to help people really understand what intuition is, right? So when I wrote my last book, Radical Intuition, people really started to feel like the effects of intuition, because it was like a workshop too. It teaches you to experience these things personally. It doesn't just talk about intuition. It shows you how to develop yours and use it. And when people start to have these magical experiences, right, these miracles that occur when you follow your intuition and are true to yourself and live by that inner voice, the next rational question is, well, how is this actually working? Like, what's really going on here? Like, okay, I believe it now, I've seen it, but what's happening? So it was really a quest for me to understand the magic of intuition in a way that is really something, a contemporary understanding, really, rather than just say, oh, it's a cult or supernatural or just using the word metaphysics. And so it was a really fascinating book to write. It kind of blew my mind when I made some of the discoveries that I did working with other scientists and metaphysicians. And so, yeah, so it was a lot of fun seeing how it all sort of weaves together into our contemporary understanding.
Yeah, and I love you back it up with evidence, which is really powerful, because you're saying, okay, well, this actually exists.
Yeah,
Like, this is for real,
right.
And it's so beautiful. The Course in Miracles has, it says it so perfectly when it says only love is real, all else is an illusion. And when it said here, I was reading, it says, you say in the book that the source of all suffering is the illusion of separation from our inner dimension. Okay?
Which is
hello.
Yes.
What is that, and what's happening? Because the Course teaches only love is real, all else is an illusion, and that we believe that we're separate. We believe the duality. We believe that, this separation. So please tell me more.
Yeah. So when you follow your intuition, right, it starts out with little things like making a right choice, or having empathy for someone, or recognizing the unity between things, right? And you keep following it, and you keep going deeper and deeper and becoming more self-actualized and closer to the truth. So intuition is our connection to the core truth of the world. People are always like, what happens when my intuition is wrong? Well, your intuition will 100% never be wrong. Intuition can't by nature be wrong, because it's our connection to truth. And we can be wrong. We can misperceive it, or maybe not know the whole picture. Maybe the intuition will take us to a little bit of pain to get us to something bigger down the road, right? So at the end of the day, we have to walk in trust with the journey. And if we move, the deeper we go down that journey, the deeper we go into coherence with life, the deeper we connect to what? Love. Love is the coherence that holds the universe together. And that, I sort of gave away the end of the book there. But that's the last chapter, is what it talks about. And we talk about the state of coherence, which is union and harmony and all of the things that we love and that feel good to us as human beings, and to help us grow and expand and come together. But ultimately, that state of what they call it in science is coherence. And what we call it is a feeling of love. So this love is our connection to each other, to the universe, to all that is and has ever been and ever will be. And all of that is linked through science now. We can understand that through the unified field, also called the non-local field, that connects everybody invisibly. We realize we're not actually different, separated things. That's all an illusion. Science is catching up to metaphysics finally, and can teach us that we are really actually all different little unique points of consciousness in the indivisible one.
Wow. That's so powerful. And it's so cool because being a Course in Miracles teacher and student, also having this page, because it is aligned to the course. When I started reading your book, I was like, wow, it's very connected. It's pointing you the same place, right?
Yeah.
In a different way. And I love this science approach. I think the first time I heard about quantum physics was with the book, What the Bleep Do You Know? That's the first time
Yes.
That's the first time, and it blew my mind. So when I was reading your book, I was like, oh, this is coming up in my field again, because it's also very similar. So what do you have to say? And this is not in the question, so I'm sorry, it's just coming into my mind.
I love spontaneity.
What is science saying about this? And what is this whole energetic field that you're tapping into here, that there's so much more than this, or what we think is real, right?
Yeah. So what's exciting is there are groups of really leading edge scientists now that are leaning into this. And this is where I really drew a lot of the material from with this work, with this book. Because first of all, Ervin Laszlo is fantastic. If you haven't read him, he wrote a book called Science in the Akashic Field. If you really want to get into the science of it, I think he's one of the real trailblazers in this arena, and he was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for all of this work that he was doing. So there is a sort of element of renegade, sort of maverick scientists that are taking this on and are seeing these connections, which, it's how it always is in the beginning. When you have a few people that are brave enough to step out and say things, I'm sure I know for a fact the mainstream community in physics is a little slower to respond. As the people I interviewed were like, well, I'm not ready to go on camera about this yet. Can we just talk about it? But I don't want this out there anywhere. I had that kind of stuff. Like, they get it and they believe it, but you can't say this stuff yet in circles in some places without people sort of, ridiculing you or poo-pooing it, because intuition still is one of those ephemeral things that have an association with them, that it's not real. It's something just for women. It's just imagination. But anybody, trust me, I have on my school intuition lab, I've been working with people for almost 10 years now, but all kinds of people, right? From all different kinds of life, researching, experimenting with intuition. And once you feel it, and once you know it, and once you experience those impossible things for yourself, you can't deny it anymore. People like Einstein, Steve Jobs, Tesla, these were all great geniuses who attested to intuition as the source of our future in terms of becoming, more advanced, evolved human beings. So this isn't a new idea. This is something that's just coming now to the surface in the mainstream. I'm just one of many voices now that are out there saying, okay, it's time to pay attention to this. We're ready.
Wow. I always say the time has come. The time has come. Like, that's it, ready. Just so everyone knows, if you're popping in now, I am interviewing Kim Chestney. She wrote the Illumination Code, amongst other books, because someone was just asking Kim. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew we're talking about this book. We're talking about intuition.
Today's the book launch day. So this is it. We're there. It's coming today.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. I actually saw it online, but I wasn't sure if it was an old post, because you never know.
Yep.
So awesome. Congratulations. So Kim, today she's officially launching the book.
Yes.
The Illumination Code. So check it out. You can, I'm sure, get it on Amazon and anywhere books are sold.
Anywhere. Yep.
So amazing. Awesome, Kim. Congratulations. I know that. I know what it takes. It's like birthing a baby, It's like a lot of work.
It is so much.
Um, so I wanted to also ask you, Kim. You were talking about this. I was thinking about these big minds like Steve Jobs and all these things, all these people. And people would think that they're just brilliant minds and that they're different than us, or they had a strategy, or they don't even think about intuition. When you think about these people, you don't really think about intuition, right? So I think that that's so interesting, because of course it absolutely has everything to do with intuition, because you have a guidance and you get ideas
Exactly.
that come from that intuition, correct?
Exactly. Like when Einstein talked about solving problems, he would talk about his best ideas would come to him when he sat in his rocking chair, just doing nothing, being aimless is what he called it. And what happens when we're aimless, right? When we're not busy on our phones, or we're not trying to like run around like maniacs all the time, we're still and we're calm and we're quiet. Stillness is so underrated in our general society. And I
You're
know
right.
there's mindfulness out there, which is this really counterpoint to all of our busyness that we really need. But we also need to really integrate stillness as a part of our workday, right? Being open to the creative ideas that come and opening space for that intuition to drop in. So Einstein was one of these people who recognized that he'd wake up in the middle of the night and find solutions. When he woke up and something would just pop into his head. When he was sitting rocking his chair, ideas would come and he could formulate through his imagination and his thought experiments. So all of this process was deeply tied to his intuition. And it's not just for science, it's for everything we do. It's for our relationships, our businesses, our own personal growth and journey. When we open up to that still quiet voice, that Holy Spirit within us that connects us to the oneness, and the ultimate journey of everyone is that journey. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's for me, it's everything, because when we're trusting that voice, I feel that it gives us so much power, but it's true power. It's not like an egoic power. It's like a power of, wow, I always say the power to heal is within you. And I really don't say that lightly. I really believe that. I feel that there's so much more than meets the eye, which is what you really talk about in the book. It's like there's just so much more than this form. There's so much more than this body. There's energetic fields. There's Somebody just said now they ordered the book. Noah
Yay!
Morrow. Thank you, Norma. She just ordered the book. Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much. So for me, it's like this, it helps. I feel that it helps us collectively, beings in this world, to say, wow, I have something within me and I can actually heal myself, and I can actually create things coming from this space, and I'm not alone, and I don't need to necessarily always look for my answers outside, which is a society that has taught us to look for our answers outside and not trust our inner voice. That's
Absolutely.
why what your work, I feel, is so powerful, Kim.
Yeah, and that's really the core, what you just said. It comes down to learning to trust ourselves and our inner compass, and that truth that informs us from the inside, that one that's the real truth, right? All this stuff out here, we're not quite sure what all this is, right? We're still trying to figure out. We don't know what matter is. We don't even really know what this reality is, honestly. And so, but we think we do, because we're just used to it and we're acclimated to it. So just think, because we're familiar with something doesn't mean that it's better than something else. But the real truth comes from within us, and that's the eternal truth. That's the truth that transcends this moment in time that we're living in this little world that we call reality. So the more that we start to tune in to that inner truth, that inner guidance, start to trust ourselves, the more we align with a higher vibration, happiness, joy, contentment, healing, right? All of those things come from that vibrational frequency of alignment with that inner truth and that inner divine self, or the Holy Spirit, as you might say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I always tell people, I say the Holy Spirit because I'm comfortable with it, and it's because the Course in Miracles, says it that way, so I honor that. But I tell people, call it Pepito, Juanito, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. The whole point is that you have an inner wisdom that's epic, and the whole point is to have an epic relationship with the Holy Spirit. I don't care what you call it.
I couldn't have said better. An epic.
Yeah, you can write that in your next book, Kim. You can
Exactly.
quote. You can call the intuition Pepito Juanito. Be like, what is she talking about? Did Kim turn Latin?
I know, right? Wait a second.
We're all one, so yeah, you can channel that. So the next question is, because I have two more questions for you, and then we'll wrap it up. But one of the things I do want to get over for sure, the four types of intuitive downloads that you talk about. Just if that has to do with steps on connecting to your intuition, that would be great. But first, I want to know just you could make it as short as you can on why does this attract you? What does your intuition sound like? Why do you love this connection to intuition? I'm just curious of you, little more about you.
Yeah. So I have been fiercely passionate about intuition for a very long time. When I was growing up, I lived in a haunted house for a while, so I had some experience to begin with as a young person that were not explained by contemporary physics. So I was always intrigued by how things like that could happen. I had experiences of premonitions and telepathy and things that just weren't explainable, but they had happened to me. So it became sort of my life quest to understand them, because I had to accept myself, and I couldn't accept myself when people were telling me these things weren't real, because they were part of my life and it was happening to me. So for me, it really was just my own journey of self-discovery and understanding what was happening within me that fueled this sort of lifelong passion of discovery that I can honestly really say culminated in this book. Like, this book is the culmination of 30 years of experiences, research, like developing our mind, expanding our minds to get to this point. And all of it is so personal to me because these are my experiences. This is all my journey. I'm actually very open about some of my experiences in this book. For the first time, I've been very reluctant to share those things in the past because, again, people don't always receive those with the openness that they should, because if it hasn't happened to them, then you know what I mean, then it's hard for people to process sometimes. So I give people the opportunity in this book. You can do it for yourself. So everything I talk about in this book, it comes with a workshop so you can do it yourself. And that's why I don't want you to take this from me. I don't want you to say, oh, well, this was a really great idea. I want you to go out and do this and feel the magic, experience it in your own life, because once you experience, you can't deny it anymore. And it sets you on your own journey of self-discovery. And that's really what I hope for people, is for everyone who reads this book, and everyone really in the world, is to rediscover the magic within us, right? That connection to a deep, powerful place of life that's beyond our 9-to-5s and making money and all of that stuff out there. So I just hope that everybody else has a beautiful experience with this, the way I ultimately did throughout my life.
In the book, Kim, you have chapters that have the different practices on how to connect to your intuition. So can you speak about some of those? You don't have to share them all, but maybe some of them that you feel you can leave here that you feel will be helpful for our audience.
Yeah. So one of the things that we found in Intuition Lab, one of the best intuition development tools, is using something that I've called insight cards, or the process of sacred seeing. So this is something that I think it also ties in with the Holy Spirit, and it's something that has a very spiritual history in the world. So there's a tradition in different spiritual practices of something called sacred seeing, or visio divina, where you look at an image and you allow it to speak to you. You allow the divine to give you a message through that image. So so in that spirit, I created an insight card deck, which I call the Illuminate Insight Card Deck. And there's some samples in this book that you can practice with. And if you get the book, and if you bought the book, don't forget, on my website, I have a free card deck and a little workbook that goes with this. So if you got the book, don't forget to get that. It's a great helper.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So can you say that again? How can they get that? Just so.
After you buy the book, just go to my website and click on books. You'll see, and I'll have a link that says get the book companion, and it's a free download. It has a workbook that goes with this, a free insight card deck, and a bunch of other fun things like affirmation.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's a super fun thing to help you, right, on your journey and record everything. But these cards, using these cards, I also have a free online deck that you can use on my website, have been so valuable in helping people to learn how your intuition speaks to you and to open up. They're kind of like tarot cards, only it's not like you go somewhere else and find meaning. No card has any intrinsic meaning. They just have beautiful pictures, which I illustrated myself. I designed everything myself. I'm an artist. So, so another little labor of love. But I've really found that it's been really, really helpful in opening up that conversation with your higher self. So when you want to get some guidance on something, you pick a card and you let this card speak to you. And I have the full instructions in the book and I'm on the website. So that's one of the, I think the really key tools. But we also do fun things like remote viewing. We practice like precognition and telepathy and all these different signs and synchronicities you can learn to get in your life, little techniques to start a conversation and really develop a relationship with the universe.
That's amazing. And to conclude, what every day, so your everyday life, what is your intuition? How does you connecting to your intuition look like, Kim? Like in your everyday life?
Yeah, and people ask me that all the time. And years ago when I started working with it, I would do an intuition practice. I would sit down. When I started developing my intuition, I would do something before bed is when I used to do it every day. Like I would sit and have my practice, do some journaling, pull an insight card, or some people like to do that in the morning. It's very much connected with meditation. Do a little meditation, get into that space. But now I use my intuition in everything I do all the time. And it's actually gotten to the point where miracles happen every day in my life, and it's just a natural part of my life. And once you start to live by your intuition, these miracles start to happen more. The magic, you see the magic everywhere, the coincidences, the serendipity, all of this stuff starts to happen more and more. The more you lean into it, the more you align with it, the more you invite it into your life. So things that used to seem like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. Like this person called me. I was just thinking about it. I just looked at the clock. It's 11:11. Oh my goodness. I just knew I should buy this thing and it was really amazing. Like all of that stuff is just natural way of being when you move in with your intuition. So it's a wonderful, magical way to live.
It is a magical way to live, and it feels good.
Yes.
Like it feels so good. For me, when I live the spirit, it just feels good. It feels right. It's very natural. Course in Miracles says miracles occur naturally. It's a natural expression. It's not something that you have to work hard at. It's natural within us, just like love. It's funny because I usually say to my assistant when he has an idea and then I have an idea, I usually say, he says something which then inspires me, and then I'll say, oh my God, I have this great idea because of what you said. And then now it's even the collaboration of us two together makes it even more powerful. But now when I'm listening to you, it's not really even an idea.
Yes. Yes.
My intuition is talking to me. Like when I go on my walks and I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be such a great idea for this. And I'll tell him and he'll say, oh my God, Maria, you have the best ideas. But now it's not really ideas, it's intuition.
Yes, intuition and ideation, all of that stuff, imagination is all tied together. And all we need to do to get more of it is listen, right? Open up that space for those little ideas to pop in your head and then run with them and then allow them to take on their own creative life. So it's a beautiful part of co-creation.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Kim, tell us where we can find you. Any last thoughts, whatever, you can't mess it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, first I want to thank you for being here on book launch day. So this was super exciting.
Listen,
thank you for
that was totally guided. That was totally guided because I didn't think about that. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it worked out great. I said, how fun. All right. So this is it. It's out. It's born. It's the book's birthday today. So you can check this out on your favorite bookstore anywhere. And then don't forget to get your free book companion on my website, kimchestney.com. You can follow it, my link in bio. I have all the info there. And there's actually a bunch of freebies right here on Instagram. You can go to my Instagram page and get the free insight card deck. There's a little quiz to find out what your intuitive type is. So if you poke around on my page, you'll get a lot of the stuff that will help you to work with this book. So I also give courses and online workshops if you want to practice in person. I have a school called Intuition Lab, so you can visit intuition-lab.com and we can practice live together. It's a lot of fun to play with your intuition with other people sometimes.
Yes, it's the website is www.intuition/lab.com, right?
Yeah, like hyphen -lab.com.
Awesome. This interview will also be on YouTube. It'll also be on my podcast next week. So everybody will have access to this video, not only here on Instagram, but also in other social media avenues. And we're so happy you were able to join us, Kim, today, and just have such a passion for listening to my higher self and my inner wisdom. So the approach that you're taking and also the science behind it, I find it fascinating and I find it truly helpful. So thank you for that service.
Thank you. You're so welcome. And thank you for having me here. And it was so wonderful getting to spend time with all of you on this very special day.
Wonderful. And everyone, today's book launch day, so be sure to get the book. It's Macy. It says this was great. Thank you. We'll be ordering. So definitely go ahead and follow Kim on her Instagram page that this will lead to. And Kim, I'll share the interview with you as well, so that way you can share it on your Instagram. But if anyone found this helpful, anything you heard found this helpful, I invite you to share this interview with other people so the word spreads, because that's how word gets around, is by us helping each other to share it. So, all right, everyone, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mwah.
Bye, Kim. Thanks, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Bye.